Hey, this is Angela with this week's Living the Shift. So last week I had talked about how I knew this was going to be an extended topic, which is doing things differently as we walk into this awesome new age, new world, the beauty of an entirely new paradigm that we're developing as we go, shedding away the old age and shedding away what doesn't serve us anymore. And you know what? We're in February now, and so many people I know can attest to, including myself, wow, how much has just started rolling, and things that don't serve us are just falling away, and just as quickly the other things are popping up, and everything's just readjusting, and it's getting faster and faster and more intense, and it's actually really, really cool, and it's really amazing to watch it happen, as long as we set the intention of the whole grace and ease thing. But anyway, I keep on getting impressed upon me how important it is to talk about all the details around how to do things differently, because as I said last time, going to we have cycled around a whole bunch of times, and so some people are stuck on the, oh yeah, well, we'll cycle around again. No, we're done. This is it. My understanding is we are done. The key is for us to remember this time to do it differently. We've done it a whole bunch of times. We don't need to do it anymore. We're ready to break the cycle, actually, evolve into then the next game, so to speak, which I understand is supposed to be much better and more exciting, and actually even more exciting and fun and all that kind of stuff. So, the details on how to do things differently goes down to everything. And two of the areas where it becomes really, really prominent right now has to do with our work and our relationships. And let me I have a perfect example of what has gone on with me. I have something that just happened this week. I have been working out of my house for going on 7 years. I left corporate America like 7 years ago, and I've had a couple of different businesses where I've been working out of my house, and I've been doing this, and I do this out of my house. And I have adequate space, and it's very comfortable, and I do classes here, I do sessions here, and everything else, and I have the space dedicated to it. And things are really ramping up, and I know they're ramping up. So what's really interesting is starting about December, a friend of mine started pushing this office space, like saying, oh my gosh, she's my acupuncturist. And so this office space is actually integrative, and they have several different related practitioners doing like sort of really integrative and holistic stuff. And the space had opened up, like 2 rooms had opened up in the office. And so she's like, oh, this room has your name on it. I was like, yeah. And she kept on coming back, oh, you really should rent it. You really should think about it. I'm feeling like it has your name on it. I was like, okay, whatever. And I had all this other stuff going on. And see, here's the funny thing. Am I uncomfortable where I am? No, that's the issue. Is I'm actually pretty comfortable. Well, it's home, right? I have an office here. I have a healing room, healing/meditation room. And I have the space to do classes, like I said, and all that kind of stuff. So it's okay. Now, as things are ramping up, I'm thinking, okay, I'm impeding more and more time onto my family, because as I'm doing, especially classes and stuff on the weekends and everything, then my family has limited access to certain parts of the house. But it still works out okay. It's okay, right? So this office is sort of looming out there, right? And the funny thing is I haven't rented it, which was really, I couldn't understand that, because it's a beautiful space and it's very reasonable, and the deal is just amazing, right? And it's in a really nice area, well populated, and it's just got so many pluses. So I kept on thinking, okay, if I get to it, I'll get to it, and if not, if they rent it, that's okay. Then I wasn't supposed to do it, right? So it's been sitting there. Well, something happened where I had to go to her office earlier this week. And so the chiropractor who runs the whole shebang, he wasn't supposed to be there. Or she didn't think he was supposed to be there. And she was talking, she's like, oh, you should talk to him, this and that, but he's not supposed to be here today. I don't think he's going to be here today. And lo and behold, while I was there, he came, right? So after we were done what we were doing, I went to the bathroom, I'm sitting, and she said, oh, talk to him, go and talk to him. And I was like, yeah, maybe. And so I went to the bathrooms, and I'm in the bathroom, and I'm like, yeah, well, yeah, and I'm humming and hawing, and all of a sudden, through all these scripts that are running in my mind, and I'm conscious of them, which is really funny, is like how conscious of them I am, and I'm listening to all this stuff, well, there's another bill to pay a month, and Da, 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 da. Do I really need that? And all of a sudden, I hear very calmly and very clearly, remember, it's time to do things differently. Okay. I'm being called on it. I've got to walk my talk, right? So I was like, okay. So I went and talked to the man and looked at the space, and I really fell in love with it. And I was like, well, and there's all these opportunities on how it will work and how it actually increases my visibility and how I have a space outside of the home and I could do classes there. I mean, and there's enough space for that. And it's really great location. And so I'm asking myself, all right, is this for my highest and best? And I'm hearing yes. I asked like 5 times or so. And about the 5th time I got, is this for my yes, 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 just do it, right? So I go home, I'm thinking about it. Talking to my husband. And now the funniest thing is I was like, well, I honestly could have just made the decision right there, but I'm still humming and hawing. There's still a little bit of that script in my head. So I even told my husband, I said to my husband, okay, come and look at the space with me. And my friend was going to be there late that night, so we went back, and so I'm looking at the space, and he looks at me and goes, yeah, it's for you. This is right. This is where you're supposed to be. And I was like, okay, I guess I can't ask anymore. That's like, who else am I going to have my kids come? I'm going to have my neighbors come and all that kind of stuff. And so, and now there's there's just a lot of things that are just falling into place like this. And so I'm talking to a lot of people, more and more people who have this going on in their lives. And so what happens is we overthink it. And when we overthink, that's when the ego comes in and starts saying, well, yeah, think about you got to justify to pay for it and this and that and this and that and this and that. But then you forget about the upside of, well, what additional opportunity does it give me? And, I have writing to do, I have things to do that sometimes I think don't get done because I have my office in my house, because things get me distracted really easily. Oh, well, I can do this first. And so the key for today's message has to do with comfort. And that's jobs and relationships are where 2 of the areas where we tend to get comfortable and then forget that we actually deserve everything, that we deserve magnificence, that we deserve being blissful, because we're so used to just settling, right? We're so, okay, we strive to be comfortable. So many people will say, I would just be happy to be comfortable. Well, here's the thing. Why? We have so much more. We have so much more opportunity. We are the divine, and this is time for us to grasp onto it, and that's what we're doing moving into this new age. Time to do it differently. So, are you comfortable in your job? Great. Do you love what you do, but where you are is okay? Then rethink where you are. Because if you love what you do and you want to find the ultimate expression of that, then you will, and you set out to find it, you will find it. But if you just stay, many times, I see this so many times with people that I work with in sessions, is that people are happy, they're comfortable where they are, so they're content. I start saying happy, but it's really like they're content. And so they don't have a lot of motivation to get out of there. Now, things are terrible, and we have a lot of motivation, right? We want to get out of the ditch. We want to get out of the rut. But if they're okay, well, they're okay. It could be worse, right? Don't fix it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? Have you ever heard that? But we're changing all that. Let's throw those statements and throw those thoughts away and say, if it could be better, if I am not in complete bliss, then it's time to find something better. Or find out how to make where I am better into what I need to give me bliss. What prevents us from doing that many times are fears and beliefs that, well, I could make it worse too. No, if you are truly finding your bliss, it might take a couple of steps. It might take a couple of little short turns here and there, but you will find it. The book The Alchemist by Paul Coelho is one of the best easy reads, and it's got such a great message in it. But one of the things that comes out of that he says over and over in this book is, decide what you want and the universe conspires to help you get it, basically. And if you say, I want my bliss, I want to be in bliss and such happiness that I just can't stand it, that every moment of every day is amazing, then the universe will bring it to you. The universe will conspire to bring it to you. And the key is, though, you will get to it, but you need to also put the energy to it and So many times we get lost and we get blinded by comfort, by being comfortable, that we don't see stuff, an opportunity that's right in front of our face, because that would make us totally blissful, because we're afraid of getting out of that comfort zone, getting out of those boxes. And so the same thing happens with relationships too. Like, okay, well, I've been in this relationship, and I'm not just talking about spouses and lovers and stuff. I'm talking about friends and, even relatives. I mean, we are all related. We're all one. And so we've all been related in different ways, in different families, in different lifetimes. So because we're related by blood, now find out why. If you're related by blood, find out what the purpose of that is. And you don't need to have this obligation to stay connected just because of the blood connection, because it's the souls that are connected, and we just flow through. And so somebody who you work with could be a very close soulmate and stuff that you've had in other lifetimes or whatever, and they could be more family than your sister or brother. Or just somebody who becomes one of your best friends. I mean, some of my best friends have come out of like people I've worked with, because we've all been in the right place at the right time to meet each other when the time was right. So the key is to ask yourself, and many times long-term relationships and friendships and stuff too, we stop asking, does it serve us both in the highest and best way? We forget to ask that. And when do we get to the point of saying, no, this doesn't serve me in the highest and best way, so it's time to move on? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be sad about. It's something to be grateful for. Okay, we've completed our lessons together, it's time to move on. And that's any kind of relationship, including lovers and spouses and all that kind of stuff too. But the other thing is, many times we can actually improve on the relationship, because all we need to do is a little bit of work to clear out some stuff that's preventing us from hitting that bliss. And when we do that, so what we do is we say, well, I'm comfortable with this person. They know me. We know each other. We know each other's quirks. We know each other's likes and dislikes and everything else. And we have fun together and everything else. And it's good. Okay, but is it blissful? Do you love every moment with that person? And yes, okay, you have disagreements and stuff, but do you essentially really, truly find bliss with this person, regardless of the relationship? And that's what we need to start asking ourselves. This is how we need to start doing it differently, because what always happens when we have that kind of situation and we are comfortable is that there's a part of our mind that thinks, yeah, well, so if I leave this to find my bliss, then I'm wrong or I'm bad, because it means I'm spoiled. It means that I'm not happy with what I have. And yes, it's true, it's having gratitude for what you have. But at the same time, if it's not bringing you bliss, if it's not serving you in the highest and best way, again, then we can go back and ask, is this relationship serving me in the highest and best way? Is it serving the other person? It's serving both of us. Sometimes it's serving the other person the highest, best way and not you. And then you have to sort of rethink that and say, well, how can it? Or do I need to find another relationship or something that will serve both of us in the highest and best way? So there's a lot to start thinking about. And many people are very afraid of that. They're afraid of looking under the rock. They're afraid of looking too hard in the mirror, because they're afraid of screwing it up. They're afraid that if they leave something that's comfortable, then they'll hit something that's terrible. And then they'll say, well, God, I should have been happy with what I had. It's not having gratitude with what you have. It's having gratitude for what you've found, and then finding the next step, going on beyond that. Instead of stopping at that step, finding the next one. And there's a different way of going about that. So on that, I'm going to give you your homework for the week, which is to look at everything, to look at your job and your relationships in your life and say, okay, do these have the opportunity, number one, to serve me in the highest and best way, to bring me, and number two, to bring me bliss? And can we go to the next step? Can we go, in relationships and in a job and what you're working in? Is it a part of me that I love, that expresses me in the highest and best way? Can I move forward with this to the next step? Can we move together in this, in the relationship or in what you're doing? So think about that, and we'll talk to you next time. This is Angela with this week's Living the Shift.